we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Shannon Harp, and I am with the Leitchfield Women's Club. I am the public affairs person, and we're going to do the pledge before we get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Leitchfield Women's Club Meet the Candidates and Live Auction. Thank you to all the candidates who have donated items to be auctioned. All proceeds from this auction will go to the Shoe Fund, which provides shoes to students in Grayson County school system. Every year we do a couple of fundraisers, one being the Poncetta fundraiser, and this money goes back into our school system with the FRCs, and we buy shoes for children from toddler to high school age, which are adult-sized shoes, and we do that several times a year. We have to have money to be able to do this, as some kids are more harder on shoes than others. A lot of our races were determined in the May primary. Special thanks to everyone who has helped with this. Aaron Haycraft is our auctioneer. Thank you to Aaron. Thank you to Miss Linda for decorating. Thank you for Jaja's Cupcakes. And Dennis Haycraft for the sound system, our Grayson County High School students who have volunteered, and St. Joseph Parish Hall for letting us have this event here. A lot of our races were determined in the May primary election and has candidates listed on the ballot as unopposed. We have some of those candidates with us tonight. All local candidates on the ballot were invited. Trust me, I know, because I called, and some people I called multiple times. Everybody got at least 2 calls. Some people got 3. If they asked me to follow back up with them, I called the 3rd time. Candidates who are running opposed will be speaking with us about why they are running, and each candidate will be given up to 2 to 2.5 minutes, and I will have a timer to speak. After all candidates is given in a given race have spoken, we will then open the floor to questions from you. I'm going to emphasize all questions should be directed to all candidates in that race and be relevant to that position or office. Each candidate will be given the opportunity to answer all questions as long as they are relevant to their position. We're going to go in order of candidate categories. If there are any unopposed candidate here and they wish to speak, would you please stand up? Do we have an opposed candidate that would like to speak, meaning a school board member, 3rd District? If you would like to speak, please stand up. Do we have a mayor candidate from the city of Caneyville? Any Caneyville City Commission people, if you are here and would like to speak, please stand up. Do we have any Clarkson City Commission people here that would like to speak? Okay, then I guess we're going to get started with our city council people. And you are going to go in numbers according to the numbers you've drawn. Who is number 1?
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank the Women's Club for putting this on. We're so glad to be out tonight, and we just want to thank you all very so much. My name is James Clayton Miller. I was born and raised in Leitchfield in 1949. My wife was raised here too. Ruby, stand up, darling. She's my rock next to Jesus. But we've been married 48 years. I worked for the Leitchfield City Police Department, ambulance service, when 911 was old 911. I worked there. I retired from there before the retirement ever got started. That's how long it's been since I was there. First of all, I want to say that it's a privilege and an honor to be voted for Leitchfield City Councilman and being able to serve. We're servants. This is not a job to me. To me, it is a privilege to be able to help everybody. I know that we can't help everybody, but we can try to. As you know, at times we have disagreements, and it takes 3 councilmen and the mayor or 4 councilmen to make a decision, and I guess I'm considered the rebel of the bunch, but that's okay. I've been called that all my life. I would like to see the factories that are closed down and gone. I would like to see them operational again with new industry coming in. I would like to see the drug issue helped more. Our police officers are doing the best that they can with what they've got to do, and that we need participation from the public to help us get rid of this. As I said, the police department is doing the best they can. So, you know, I'd like to see those things, and we need to take care of what we've got already. We've got a motel coming in. Thank God for that. It's been worked hard at to get it in, and we thank God for those are involved in it. The only promise that I can make you is that I'm going to do the best that I can. I don't know what I can do, but I will do the best I can, as I've always have. And I have been able to make my decisions, even though I may disagree with the others. They've got their decision to make. But I can go home and lay down of a night with my conscience clear. And I would just like again to say it's an honor and privilege to have served you for 4 years.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm number 1 on the ballot. So.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Embry, and I'm running for the office of Leitchfield City Council to serve a 2nd term. I was born and raised in Leitchfield, and I have devoted most of my adult life to doing what I can to make Grayson County a better place. I currently serve as the Addiction Services Director at Owensboro Health Twin Lakes, and I have a wonderful husband and 2 amazing kids. I have served through many different organizations over the past 10 years within our community, such as United Way, Leitchfield Tourism, the Grayson County Poverty Coalition, and Tri-County CASA. Serving my first term as Leitchfield City Council has truly been an honor. It has been a time of learning and growth, and I'm passionate about pushing Leitchfield towards our future while still remembering our foundation. Some things over the past year I'm proud of are engaging the council in strategic planning, working towards upgrading our digital presence, and encouraging community members to get involved to help make a difference. An example is a group of individuals who had dreams of expanding our disc golf course and making it into something bigger and better to bring more tourism into the community. By getting these folks in front of the right people and supporting them along the way, we were able to make that happen. We now have a community of disc golf players who host tournaments frequently, which brings tourists into our community to shop, play, and eat. Another focal turning point I was happy to be a part of is the restructuring of our city's code enforcement ordinances. This has been a group effort, and I think in years to come, this is going to have a huge impact to the appearance of our city, as well as ensuring our less fortunate community members have adequate rental properties available. So far, more than 20 dilapidated properties have been resolved. We are approaching a critical time within our city and county. The announcement of Ford coming to Hardin County in 2025 is a huge opportunity for us. It is important for us to take care of our own industry to keep our employees here. We also need to be focusing on making our housing market more appealing to lure some of those families moving for work to Leitchfield. This is important to keep in mind when you go to the polls. We need to ensure we elect public servants who are going to be engaged and willing to put in the work to ensure our community reaches the best outcomes regarding these changes. Another upcoming announcement is the opioid abatement settlement for Kentucky. Our state received $478 million, half of which will be distributed to counties and cities to be spent on efforts to combat the opioid epidemic. With a poverty rate of over 29% and a news story about a drug-related incident happening here almost daily, I don't need to tell you how important this is for Leitchfield. Thank you. I'm Jessica Embry, number 2 on the ballot.
I'm Billy Dallas, and I'm running for Leitchfield City Council, and I would like to thank the Women's Club for inviting us out, and you people come. In the past, we didn't have very many show up, but this looks like a success tonight. I've been a lifelong member or a lifelong resident of this community, married to my wife Cindy for 35 years. Been working at Grayson County EMS for 37 years, 35 years as an EMS assistant director. Next year, I'll celebrate my 40th year with the Leitchfield Volunteer Fire Department. I also have served on many councils and boards throughout the years. I'm running to represent you on the city and would appreciate your vote. I have had the opportunity to serve several terms as city council and also privileged to be mayor pro tem for 4 years. Passionate about the community and people live here, I want to do my part in progressing and growing Leitchfield. Being a member of the Leitchfield City Council means working together with a group of elected officials to make the betterment for the community. We do this by running a transparent, efficient government, investing in our public spaces, and promoting balanced development. Goals needed to pursue is building up on the workforce, making it stronger, as well as increasing our median income for the city. Difficult challenge to do, but doable. Need to be done to see the city succeed. Most importantly, I promise to represent you as the city councilman of this city and thank you for your support. Please use your vote for experience, a strong voice, and strong leadership. To the people of Leitchfield and all the veterans, I would like to address the walking track being placed between the veterans memorials. When I found out where the location would be, my thoughts were, how could I use this as an educational tool? Living with an educator for 35 years, it just comes automatically. My thoughts, more foot traffic, more traffic for me, more traffic for them would be more people wanting to learn and learn more of the history behind these memorials, which in turn would lead to more history preserved and more people asking questions and being overall more inquisitive. These were my thoughts, never intended any disrespect or ill will or emotional stress for anyone. I have cared for and transported many veterans through my employment at Grayson County EMS for 37 years. Hopefully I have shown that I do care and have respect for the veterans and their families.
I am Terry Haycraft, candidate for Leitchfield City Council. I am running for this position because I have deep concerns about the transparency, efficiency, development, and progress of our city. I have concerns about our future generations leaving our community because there is nothing to keep them here other than family ties. I have concerns about the effect this will have on the economy of not only our city, but our county when our future generations are investing in other communities and not ours. We have students graduating from Grayson County schools with certificates in training they can take straight to our workforce. With school systems and healthcare typically being the largest employers in rural communities, where does that leave the rest of our population? If our current and next generation workforce, or the many people who lost their jobs when our last 2 large factories closed, cannot find a job in their train field, they will go elsewhere to work. Our city has to grow economically and by population in order for new businesses, whether they be restaurants, stores, entertainment, or small businesses, to locate here. They have to have a reason to invest in us. We must become proactive instead of reactive. We have to look to the future and implement improvements to what we already have so our economy can thrive and make Leitchfield a place where people want to work, visit, shop, and live. We can't keep doing the same things we've always done because times are different and it's time to change what we are doing and how we are doing. I, Terry Haycraft, humbly ask for your consideration as you cast your vote for Leitchfield City Council on November 8th.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Mudd, and I'm running for Leitchfield City Council. Most of you, I look around the room, and all of you have seen me grow up over the years in different avenues as far as specialty, whether it be in sports and community involvement or just my work ethic. I have been lucky enough to be exposed to different areas and different branches of specialty. Each of these individuals here today brings something different to the table. I think it's time to change things up and bring some people together that are going to be active listeners, good communicators, and working together as a team. I would appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
I am Dennis Ventress. I'm Roy and Athleen's boy. I grew up on Central Avenue and Cave Mill Road. Went to Leitchfield High School, was in the first graduating class of Grayson County High School. Graduate too of Western Kentucky University, graduate law school, University of Louisville. I practiced law for 35 years. The last 25 years in a firm of which I was the owner for the last 3 or 4 years. We had 3 offices, 3 buildings, 12 full-time employees, so I can tell you know what it's like to run a business. I've been married to Terry for 40 years. We have 3 great children. Sadly, we have no grandchildren. We're pretty upset with that, but we're working on it, hopefully. When I retired, I wanted to move back to Leitchfield. This was my home. This is where I wanted to come. So I retired, I moved back. Since I've been here, I've been involved on the hospital. I'm on the hospital board. I'm on the cemetery committee as chair, which thanks to Jeremy for that. I'm also on the Historical Society, and I'm treasurer at the Clinton Street Church of Christ, Sunday school at 10, church at 11. I appreciate everybody to come tomorrow. Mark would be really happy to see you. I think Leitchfield is kind of at a crossroads now. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of changes. The Glendale plant is going to be a game changer for our community, and I think we need to be prepared for it. Terry said we need to be proactive and reactive. She went first, but that was me too. We need to explain to businesses. We need to have things worked out. This is what we can promise you. If you come here, this is what we can do for you. We need to have it done now, not tomorrow. People are already being recruited. We need to be on top of this. We also need to look at our housing. That's going to be a big issue here. We got to understand why people like to build subdivisions 1 mile out of town and not in town. We need to change our ordinances. We need to encourage people to build here. Also, we need to look at some bread and butter issues. Garbage is going to be a big issue to me. When I was at the church, I noticed we have one of the highest garbage rates in the state, if not the highest garbage rate for the state. We need to change that. There's no reason this is not something we need to be number 1 at. And I will promise you, if I'm elected, I'll have to make the meetings last a lot longer.
Good afternoon. Glad to see everybody. Thank you all for having us here and coming to listen at us tell you what we have in mind for the city of Leitchfield if we were elected council members. I have 4 children. My wife Joyce, Ann Clemens Higdon, Charles Marty Jr. Higdon. He's a superintendent of Taylor County school system. My second son, Robbie Higdon, he passed away a few years ago. My third is my daughter. She's manager, Julie Nelson. She is manager at Walmart. Maverick Higdon. She'll soon be 13. She's what keeps us going. I would like to see the city of Leitchfield continue to grow. I'd like to see us offer some things for the children. Right now, we don't seem to have a whole lot of that. All it takes is a vision of something. You put it in, you stand behind it and make sure it works. I've had a business in the city of Leitchfield for 40 years. Right now, we have 3 businesses going. One is Corner Sales, Corner Rental, and Lots LLC. Lots LLC, what we do there is we'll buy property, fix it up, sell it, trade on it. We're pretty much involved with property and know the way it sells and prices on it. I feel like one reason I would be good on the city council would be the knowledge in construction. I know how to read blueprints, put a project together. And another thing you do, once you come in and you present a project and you're getting ready to negotiate this, you go out in the field. You see how this is going to lay out in the field, and if you have to, get your own measurements. Make sure that this is not coming down on the Veterans Memorial too close. You know, if we would do things like that before we start these projects, we would know. I've had, working for me, I've got a secretary that's been with me for 25 years. Another employee's been with me about 15 years. I know how to treat employees. I know how to talk to them.
Okay. Good evening. I am Gina Carnes, and I am delighted to have been invited to speak to you and to participate in such a worthy fundraiser. Do you care about the county? Do you care about the city of Leitchfield? If so, raise your hands. I, for one, will raise my hand high because having lived in Grayson County the majority of my life, I have always cared about our county and our city and tried to be an active member in our community. I was thinking back to working on a project with Ray Downs and Burl St. Clair on the history of the many churches in our community when I was in the 6th grade. I volunteered in the middle school to help prepare the food for a volleyball tournament that brought 8 large universities and visitors to our county. I did not realize at the time that I was volunteering for our community. I only knew that I just wanted to help and be a part of it. I won't go through the extensive list I have of the boards, committees, and organizations that I have volunteered for or been appointed to over the years. I have brought with me informational cards, and they are on the back table, that have them listed. These cards also have my phone number and email on them because I want to be available for questions, comments, and perhaps a few words of encouragement that you may have. When asked why I wanted to run for a seat on the Leitchfield City Council, my answer was short, my answer was quick. I have a genuine servant's heart, and I want to be the voice of our residents and help to propel our city into the future. Looking around the room, I have either worked with or served on a committee with many of you, and I don't hesitate to say that I am independent in almost every facet of my life. I work well with others, but I'm also not afraid to ask questions, provide feedback, and have those difficult discussions. I also do not hesitate to receive feedback and coaching. So I graciously ask those that raised your hands earlier to use those same hands on November the 8th to select number 12, Gina Carnes for Leitchfield City Council.
Aaron, I want to have you come up and we're going to get started on the auction, and then after the auction, you will be able to ask your candidates questions. One thing, if Aaron picks up your auction item and you brought it, I want you to stand up and say who you are and what you brought. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to do the questions for the candidates first, and then we're going to have the auction. So does anybody want to ask any of the candidates any questions? This is your time. Do they come up here and ask them?
What are your opinions on brain drain in the community, and what are your opinions on workers' unions?
Who is that question for?
Everyone.
All the city council?
What are your opinions on brain drain in the city of Leitchfield, and what are your opinions on workers' unions? I don't know what that means. A lot of people talk about it's basically like people leaving because they we don't have opportunities to volunteer, and they educate people
Okay, so his question is in reference to something called a brain drain, which I'm not really sure exactly what a brain drain is. People leaving the community for getting jobs.
It's an economic it's an economic situation in which rural, smaller towns have more educated people leaving because of a lack of job opportunities.
Okay, so this goes back to what several of us have already commented on. In rural communities, the primary source of employment is healthcare and school systems. So, that does leave us to question, where are all of our other degree-seeking and skill or trade workers going? Because our younger generation, our future generations, they are not going to stay here. They have no ties here other than family ties. They will go where the work is. So that answers that part. As far as, I don't feel like any of us, as a city government, our opinions on things as far as unions, for example, our personal opinions should not play into effect. We should be able to collaborate together to do what is best for our community. And right now, unless things have changed, our community is already a work-ready community. So there's my answer on that. Next.
I would give the same.
Are we all going to answer?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So I just want to say thanks for being brave and standing up and asking a question. I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you. I got to meet you at Leadership, Grayson County. Are you the secretary or president of the high school, of the student council? I'm vice president. Vice president, okay. So I think just situations like you saw that day at the high school when Leadership Grayson County came to visit the high school students. Me, myself, when I graduated college, with my bachelor's degree, I had a hard time finding a job here locally at first, but I started making connections with folks in the county. And I think that's what's important, is that all of us that are leaders in the community really kind of take the youth under our wing and never be afraid to ask questions and kind of guide those people into the roles that we can get them into in the community. Because I think a lot of times our younger people are kind of timid and scared, and having leaders in the community that are mentors make a big difference.
We have a responsibility to our youth. I thank God over here for the community college that we've got. We're training up different ones but that's not the problem, training them up. It's getting things here for them to work at. We have places, we have things that needs to be opened up that will start with the young people, helping the young people do what they need to do. We haven't got a very large thing here in the county, in the city, for the young people to do when they do get out of school. They just aren't, they're not happy with what we got, and it's just kind of like our workforce. Our workforce here in the county, and even in our factories, the problem is we have a lot of people in the workforce that are working are coming from Edmondson, Butler, Hardin, and we have a lot of people that don't want to work, and so we have a need to train our young people up and bring into the community jobs that whatever they're training for, we need to work with them. We need to work with the community. We cannot, as a politician, which I am not, thank God, we cannot collaborate with people on one to do anything. It takes the whole body coming together to do anything. Take a little bit from one, take a little bit from the other, and sit down, and that's kind of what we've been working on right now. So, you know, it's a responsibility of the citizens to come together. We need everybody to come together. You know, it's no big U's, you know, no little U's, big I's. We're all come together to do what's right. And we just need a whole lot more things here. You know, until that we get them here, the young people's going to keep leaving. I got blessed to be able to work here for the police department for 911. And then I'm a graduate of College of Law Enforcement in Eastern Kentucky University. And I taught school. I taught school in Breckinridge County for 10 years. And I was blessed to be able to do that. But, you know, if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have been able to have had anything. I would have had to gone to Louisville, to Ford Motor Company, somewhere else. It's going to take all of you all, and the blame cannot be laid on just us. It's going to take everybody working together.
That was a really good question, by the way, and I was just patiently waiting my turn to answer. I can give you tangible examples of things that are currently being done. I work for Mid-Park. If you're familiar with Mid-Park, they've been in the area for over 40 years. They have 3 locations, and what benefits us with those 3 locations is we are allowed to collaborate with different manufacturers and different businesses on job shadowing opportunities. So that helps entice local talent to stay here, because a lot of the times what the big setback is, there's no additional incentives. There's nothing appetizing for us to stay here. I've also gotten the opportunity to work with workforce development. That's one of the big things that they do there as well, is we talk about different chances to get the students in there as internships. There is grant funding that also helps with that. In addition, the apprenticeships and the journeyman opportunities in these different businesses in this area, a lot of people don't know about. On top of that, you may not realize it, but October is Manufacturing Month. And what Mid-Park and other businesses that have been here for quite some time, they join together and they go to the schools and talk to students like yourself that are unsure of what chances are out there. We actually have a program right now, thanks to Brandy Lee with the vocational school, that students come in once a week. And they get to learn about different departments of specialty, whether it be in manufacturing, whether it be in, you know, different departments, sales, engineering, you name it. There are a lot of jobs here, but we just need to brand it appropriately and be able to get the word out in the right manner to let people know how great this area is. I work here and I love it. Every day is a new experience. I work with some very talented individuals. These individuals here can attest to the same thing. We have been lucky enough to work together as a community, and now we're standing here before you wanting to work together to represent you on the city council, because if you get different people from different backgrounds, they have a lot to say, and you need to be there to actively listen to what they have to say and communicate together as a team. Thank you.
I may have just a little bit different view of this. I am very proud of our college campus. I love the companies that we have here. I definitely think that we always need to be scouting and looking for more industry, more businesses. However, I started work when I was 14 years old at Montgomery Drugs because I wanted to work. I stayed there because of the employer. I stayed there for the mentoring. Growing up in the various roles and jobs that I've had, I have had people in the workforce that have been my mentor, have been my friend, and I think that while the education is wonderful, one, you have to work on having people develop the desire to want to work. 2, businesses need to take people and look at them as people, not as employees. Take them under your wing, like she was talking about. You know, a mentoring program goes a long ways to keep people at a workplace. And I would like to see our vocational school. There are so many other avenues. College is great. I didn't get my college degree till I was 50, and I was already established in my job. But I did that because I don't want to ever be complacent in learning. I love to learn. But I think that there is so much that each one of you as individuals can help somebody, whether you're working there or they're your neighbor. Encouragement and other avenues for helping our workforce is needed, as well as the actual industries.
Do we have any more questions for any of the candidates up here? Oh, I'm sorry.
Marty wanted to speak first. Go ahead, Marty. Well, I understand what he's talking about. Even though my brain is small, I did have to leave to go to other areas for a job. But I think we're kind of headed in the right direction on this. The vocational school's got a grant. The community college is going to be expanding. Industry is going to be coming here. We got to be aware of what they're looking for. We got to be training our kids to be able to fulfill those jobs. And I think now we have an opportunity with new business and with education that we can get this done now where it's been difficult in the past.
I have just a few things to offer, and probably you all have been working people. You understand what it is to start at the bottom and work your way up. How would you feel if you started a job, you worked there 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years, working your way up the ladder, and then somebody's brought in off the street to fill these jobs? There was never an advertisement put out there for certain position at this job or that job. It's just buddy system at some places. I don't agree with that. I have people that work for me, and before I hire somebody else to come in and do something, I talk it over with my employees. We've got a different position. It pays a little better. You're working your way up. Would you want this job? If they don't want it, then we go out and find somebody, bring them in, and train them to do the job. I feel like this goes on a lot in the city, in the utilities, in some of the other factories and all around here. And I think that we need to open our eyes to this. There's people told me, well, I quit this job or that job because I can never work my way up. I'm right here and I'm going to stay here. These are good employees. And another thing that I see is people leaving and going other places. When they go to work somewhere else, E-Town, Bowling Green, or wherever, a lot of times they move their families out. And one of those reasons, I feel like, is because there's nothing to do here. There's a couple of restaurants here. There's not a good restaurant here. We need something like a steakhouse. We need a few things like that can attract people in. Yeah, we're going with this motel. If this deal goes through, maybe that'll bring some good restaurants in, keep people here. We need something like a movie theater. How many times do you go to Bowling Green or E-Town or somewhere like that and you see all these people from Grayson County? Well, I come up here to the movie. I'm going to go over here and get something to eat while I'm here, spend a little of my money. We need to offer some incentives like this. We need to look forward to bringing things like this in. Myself, I've looked at putting a movie theater in. I think it would be a good investment. I think the property over here on the bypass was a real good place to put one. In fact, I asked about a few acres of ground over there about 9 months ago, and I had some things in mind. A lot of times you can't come out and tell these city officials or somebody what you have in mind, because the next thing you know, if it's a good idea, boom, somebody else has got it. But we need to be able to put things like that in. We need to use our head, use our visions, and say what's going to work. We could get rid of some of this garbage bill we've got. There's ways that we can get around some of that we're not doing now, not even looking into it. We've got elected officials up here that should be looking at things like this, getting the cost of this garbage down, getting the cost of our water down, and we can bring more employees in for that, and they don't have to go off. My son, I was saying a while ago, he's superintendent of Campbellsville, Taylor County Schools. In their schools, and the community helps promote this. They have like a cosmetology section in the school. They have a Kroger in their school. They have concrete construction. They teach people to pour concrete, to dig footings, to lay block, to build buildings, heating and air. They do all of this in their schools, and these kids are ready to go out for a job when they graduate. You know, they've already got some, you might say, college classes in. If we could work with our school system, our superintendents, there's grants out there for these things, if we would help them and push for it. That's all I got to say. I'd like to ask you for your vote.
Does anyone else have any questions for the city council? Stand up now or you're not going to get your chance.
I got a follow-up question. Sorry, I won't keep y'all too long, but Terry wants, not Terry wants. I have a question for you specifically. You said
Is it going to be relevant to the city council?
yeah, she said we're a work-ready community. What was that?
Okay, so the question is in reference to my comment saying that we were a work-ready community. I wasn't a part of the legislation that created our work-ready community. However, I do have some knowledge about it. All that means is that we can't require businesses to force individuals into joining a union. That's what that means. Is that good?
Yep.
All right.
Billy, do you want to say something?
I just want to say that Terry's right about the work-ready community in that second question. First question is, I think we have come a long ways. When I was on site base, probably 12 years ago, we graduated 19% to college. In the years, it has went up. The last I heard was 33%. Now, Becky Miller may know a little more than that now. But then we did get involved with the trade schools, with industry, trying to keep these kids at home and keep some of the people at home. This town's not technologically, as far as manufacturing or jobs around, there's not a lot of them. We're labor, we're manufacturing, we're small business. This is the way this community's been. Guys, we got 6,500 people on the census. Probably 5,000 of them, 1,500 are kids. They don't vote. You got 5,000 that are left. You got probably half of them that vote. Well, not even 30 to 40% turn out and vote. That cuts you down in half too. So then you got the rest of them that I think we're getting to be an older community. We have a lot of retirees here. We have a lot of people in government assistance here. And that's the workforce that we need to go after to bring into this community, so you don't see all these signs on all these manufacturing saying, we need help, we're hiring. So that's the only thing I want to say.
Are there any more questions for the Litchfield City Council members? If not, we're going to get started on the auction items. Again, if you brought something and Aaron picks it up, I want you to stand up and tell who you are and what you brought. Okay, we have one last. Okay. We have the mayoral candidates to go next. I'm not sure who drew what number. Rick, what's your number? Who drew which number to go first for the mayor can?
Harold Miller drew number 1 on the ballot. Rick Embry is number 2 on the ballot.
Okay. So here is our mayor candidate, Harold Miller.
Hey guys, I don't know how I can beat out giving or selling nice things, but excuse me? This one? Well, all right. Let me pull it up here so I don't have to bend over. I don't know how I can follow all that, but I just wanted to speak a couple of minutes to you guys. And I am Harold Miller, running for mayor of Leitchfield. And okay. Just wanted to say I've been married to my high school sweetheart, Becky, for 40 years. Danny Fentress and I got married on the same day. And yeah. And Danny still says that I stole his photographer. I don't know how I did that, but anyway, it's good seeing you guys here. I just want to take a few minutes and talk to you about some ideas I had. On the campaign trail, going door to door and talking with a lot of people, I've been asked what my vision is for the city. I tell people I don't have a vision for the city. I think we have a vision for the city. The people in this room and the people in this community have a vision for the city, and it's our vision. They have talked to me about different things, and that's been what my campaign has been predicated upon, is trying to see what the concerns of the citizens are and meet those. As a candidate, I want to take first things first, and when I say that, I mean that I want to ensure that each department that serves the residents of the city, after all, we do serve the residents of the city. That's what we're here. We're a service to them. And I want it to be efficient and available to everyone. I'll work hard to upgrade the streets, the sidewalks. I've heard a lot of comments about water issues, drainage issues out in the north part of town and other places, and those are the things that I want to look at first, is city infrastructure and to take care of those people and their problems. I want to provide support to our emergency services, our police department, our fire department, our public works, our utilities, make sure that they have the knowledge and the experience and the tools that they need to provide efficient service to the citizens of the community. Each citizen has a need, and I think it's upon us to meet those needs. And I know that it's impossible to meet every need all at once, but it's a process, and it's a good process to go through. When people come to you with a problem, I think that we owe them the solution to it if we can find it, and if we can't find it within our city, we can find it other places and get some advice and how to handle things. I will be Litchfield's biggest cheerleader. One of the things that I'm proud of is our rich musical history that we have here. I was lucky enough to be involved in that from a young age. We were designated as the fiddling capital of Kentucky a few years ago, and that was for good reason. We petitioned for that, and we convinced the state legislature that we were truly the fiddling capital of Kentucky because of all the talent and the success that we've had come from this community. I want to invest in new business. I think we need to be business friendly, and when we have new business people that want to come in here and locate here, they expect us to welcome them with open arms and do what we can to make that happen. Just a few things I wanted to mention. I've been asked while I'm out on the campaign trail some things that I was involved in. I spent 8 years on the city council, and spent the last 2 that I was on the council as mayor pro tem, which I was very proud of. But some of the things that happened during my tenure on the council, in 2015, we built the Veterans Memorial. 2016, we built the sports complex, the baseball complex below the Veterans Memorial. I hadn't had a lot of a lot of time there, spent a lot of time there until my grandkids started playing t-ball, or Little League actually, this past summer, and I spent a lot of time there, and it's truly something to be proud of. Those parks, even the girls' parks down below the baseball fields, we spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money upgrading those things, and it's turned out well for the citizens. And when you go down to the ballpark, you'll see why. There's barely a parking spot. You have to hunt a parking spot. There's kids everywhere, and they're all enjoying themselves. And that's a service that we've talked a lot today about our young people in the community. And time's up. I'm sorry. All right. If anybody has any questions, I've got a Facebook page, Harold Miller for Mayor, and my cell number is on there. If you've got any questions or anything like that, feel free to call me at any time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. I'm Rick Emery, the mayor of Leitchfield, and been mayor almost 4 years. Some of my family had to come tonight because some of them was real unsure about how they're going to go in this election. So I thought maybe they could hear Harold and myself and make some decision. I want to tell you right now that when you make changes, you make people mad because things have been done so long a certain way, or you're doing it different, and only way to avoid that is to do nothing. Do nothing, no changes, let's keep the way it is. I want to thank the city council for working with me the past 3 or 4 years. I want to name a few things we've done. I want to thank these candidates for council. One thing that I've had a priority is to make sure that the leadership of Leitchfield I've replaced some people that have been on boards for many years, and I want to say when I leave, I've set in place a set of leadership to which the next generation in leadership. I want to name just 4 or 5 things to which I'm pleased with. One is industry. I've been in almost every industry in the city of Leitchfield. They know me by name. They call me on the phone and said, Rick, can you help me? When I went in Core-Mark Industries, after I become mayor, you know what the guy said? He said, we've been here 31 years. You're the first mayor that's ever walked in this building. And I've changed that. That street that's got industry on it is named Ed Emery Drive. And it wasn't named that by accident. I'm proud of code enforcement. We've tore down over 20 homes and helped them tear down. If you got to the old stockyard building now, we cited them last week. I told them I want that mess cleaned up, and we got others that we're going to. The Catholic Church just tore down 3. They're over there where Clayton lives. We got a house over there with the roof tore in on it, tore down. And I put up one on Mill Street was the first one beside Walgreens. You can see that. I'm thankful for the East Main people, volunteers that volunteer on that board. I think it's $15 a month what they get. I want to say I'm thankful for the East Main market and how it's turned about. Many people has told me that the East Main program has been the best thing to come to Leitchfield in recent years, and we got bigger things for that. I've been told that had it not been for East Main, the Alexandria Hotel would have never sold, and we're thankful for that selling, and the wind is just in. And we just signed a contract for a hotel to be put on the bypass, and that's just like a new industry coming to Leitchfield. We ought to be thankful for it, and that didn't come about easily. It come by a lot of hard work. Thank you very much. If you like things the way it is, vote for me. If you don't like the way I've done, vote for Harold Miller.
You still got a few more seconds.
Well, now you tell me, Shannon. I was done wrapping it up. But I'm telling you, I've done things differently. Billy Mack Ragland pulled over the other day and said, Rick Emery said, you're going to go down as one of the best mayors in Leitchfield because you got the best interest of Leitchfield in your eyes, and you got a backbone to make it work. And a lot of people have been mad at me. A lot of them in this room has talked nasty about me, but I'm thankful that I was raised with the city. Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Harold Miller? Harold, come on up. Rick, if you want to come on up and sit right here, and then we'll have Harold let her ask her question. Where's she at? There she is. Okay. go ahead and sit right here.
Okay, so, at City Council the other night, it was discussed about the water loss. So my question to both of you all is, what's your plan for the city's infrastructure, mainly the water loss? It's costing the city $650,000 a year.
Thanks, Daniel. The subject of water loss is something that's concerned me for some time, and as a councilman, we had several conversations about it. Being involved in utilities, I worked for Warner Electric for 34 years there. That's where I retired from, and I was very familiar with utilities there. And I know that water loss is a problem. Water leaks around town are a problem. It's not a problem that can be solved overnight or even in a short period of time. But I feel that you have to have a plan. You have to start somewhere. And there are companies that will come in here. We do have some water leak equipment, Mayor, I think that that we can use. But maybe it's going to take something on a larger scale to detect those leaks and get them repaired. And there are companies that will come in here and basically find your leaks for you. If they don't find any leaks, they don't charge you. If they find leaks, they charge you for it. And I know that manpower is an issue with the city. When we go to talking about repairing large leaks like that, that may be something we have to contract out. But I think it is a worthwhile goal that when we're losing 29% or so of our treated water, that we need to look into that and get it fixed. And that's a lot of money that could be used somewhere else more usefully.
Thank you, Harold Miller. Across the street from City Hall this week, we brought a service in that detects water leaks by satellite. And they found a number of leaks. Like I said, there was 2 right in front of City Hall across the street. And our water loss is half what the national average is for a city our size. We just put on a $13 million water plant. We probably have the most modern water facility in the state of Kentucky. You're drinking it right now. This next week will be producing 24/7 from the new plant. I've been at the new plant probably 15 or 20 times. And I said, Steve Templeman told me he went to Franklin, Kentucky and had an awful water leak. And they began to work on that, but now we're working on that and trying to find source of leak. Some of our water lines are forever aged. I had somebody meet me other day. First thing he told me he wasn't going to vote for me. And then he told me, we need to replace all of our water lines and all of our sewer lines. Well, you can't do that. It would bankrupt this city and every city connected to try to do that. We do track the water leaks, and those that we have frequent leaks at, is we deem that we need to replace that line. The superintendent's my brother. Of course, a lot of the talk about utilities and stuff is a slander against him. And we got natural gas customers from Breckinridge County, Harnett to 31W. And we got one of the best utility systems in the state. And what the city spends on utilities is not a tax dollar. It's money generated out of the services that you buy from your water, sewer, and natural gas. And really, the natural gas is probably the most profitable, or the only profitable one.
Do we have any other questions for the mayor candidates? Come on up, Mark Lowe.
So a big part of the youth expansion in Grayson County and in Leitchfield in particular has definitely been East Main Market. A lot of youth come out to it, a lot of youth enjoy it. However, moving forward, A, how can we expand East Main Market, and B, how can we address the concerns that some parents and adults in our community have surrounding East Main Market, such as policing, how adults are behaving, things like that. So to both of you, how will you approach that moving forward?
East Main Market was a good idea, a wonderful idea, and something that I had thought about and talked to Mayor Thompson about some time ago, some way to infiltrate some music issues within the community, something someone could do. I was glad to help Danielle down at East Main Market procure some talent down there. We had some national talent come in. A personal friend of mine, Trent Harmon, who won American Idol a few years ago, Casey Jamerson, some of those people that have performed there. I had a little bit of part in getting them here, and not tooting my own horn, but just I was personal friends with them, so they came to Leitchfield a couple of times to perform. I've been to most of the East Main Market shows, and I've not seen anything out of the way. I would tell parents, I do see the police officers, local police officers there regularly. Most of the time that East Main Market is going on, especially during the nighttime, there are officers there. And I've personally not seen any type of trouble, anything out of the way there. So I think it's a very safe place to be. I think if more young people, if the parents would bring their young people out or even encourage them to come, they would thoroughly enjoy it, because we've had some wonderful talent up there. And but it's a great thing. It's a wonderful place. It's safe. So I don't think there should be any worries by anyone about its safety or anything that's going on there untoward, because like I say, I've attended most of them and I've never seen anything out of the way there at all. So I think maybe that fear is a little unfounded, to be honest with you.
Let me just say this, that Danielle's kind of been in charge of that, working with Elsa Johnson. And East Main Market was my ideal. It was my daughter's name to name it that. I went in there and had electric services put in for food trucks, which started out very popular. I've been told personally, had the East Main Street program not been as popular as it was, the Alexander Hotel would have never sold. I worked with Jay Dinwiddie to get him out of town or sell his property. I told Danielle, I don't care at all about Harold Miller work with you, because Harold's been in that industry, and we've entertained his son 2 or 3 times. I was a little disappointed they used the stage once for politicking, but he kind of apologized for that. And what we're going to do, since we set the stage up, we set the stage up once on Friday, use it Friday night, all day Saturday for the same stage. We can do that with porta potties for the same porta potty. And we're going to call Friday night traditional night. One of the largest attendances we had was Gordon Moe with Bill Gaither. We had him the other night, probably the largest attendance show that we had. So we're going to call Friday night traditional night. We're going to have the Monarchs. We're going to have 60s music. We're going to have local talent, or local talent's been overlooked. We're going to have local talent. And then we're going to go with rock and roll and beer on Saturday night. I'm not a beer person. People want it. No sense having to travel to Bowling Green. The citizens of Leitchfield voted for it. I'm not trying to curtail it. But it's got to be beer to which the craft people have made it. They can't haul any cans of beer and do that. They could get a special license to do that, but it would be so costly, it'd be not profitable at all. And if you've not been out, I'm going to tell you one more plug, Harold. I had Gordon Moe from the Bill Gaither. I ate with breakfast with four or five different men every Wednesday morning. Not a one of them has been to East Main. Not a one of them has been to the Gordon Moe program. Had it been in Beaver Dam, a lot of them wouldn't win. If we want programs in Leitchfield, we got to support it. You want a particular business in Leitchfield, you got to support them. One of the books we just read, and a lot of you read it with me, 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. And the way to do that, spend your money out of town, you'll kill it. If Clarkson wants a funeral home, they need to patronize the one that's up there, or any other business. And I had a man told me the other day, came in my office, lives on Hendrick Street. He said, Rick, he said, every man that got a business in Leitchfield are crooks. Well, you know, I was in business 47 years, and I don't think I'm a crook. And the people that patronize me didn't either. I'm gonna shut you there.
Does anyone else have any questions for the mayor candidates?
I have a question.
Come on up.
I speak pretty loudly, so I feel like I don't need the mic, but I appreciate it. I'm curious, we can do everything we want to do to help within, but what are we doing on a broader scale to help brand and find our niche to really put Litchfield on the map? What is your take on that? What are you doing to think bigger, to look towards the future of expanding opportunities here in general?
Well, one of the things that I tend to rely on most when I speak to people about Leitchfield is our musical heritage. 12 years ago, we had a fiddling contest that it started in 1973 in Grayson County. They decided that they were going to be no more. So myself, Ed Carnes, and Stephen Elder, who was the city councilman at the time, that was in April, and we had to pick out a date. These guys that travel with fiddling contests and stuff are just like travel ball teams. Every weekend they know where they're going to be throughout the summer. So we had until July. We had an open date in July, third Saturday in July, that we could pick that would work for us. So we threw that together the first year, and it was fairly successful. Since its inception, we've had years that we've had as many as people from 18 states, from Canada. We had a couple from the United Kingdom came this year, and we asked them how they found Leitchfield, and they said, well, we've always wanted to attend a festival like this in the States, and we found this one on the internet. So they came here from the United Kingdom, and they experienced our fiddle contest, and we have live music after the contest. To me, you take your strengths, the strengths that you have in the county. One of our strengths is our musical heritage. Steve Warner, I don't know how many of you guys know Steve Warner, brilliant country musician, but he told us one time that his daddy said he was looking for a fiddle player, and he said his daddy told him, said, go to Grayson County, he's one standing on every corner. You know, so that was a fairly true statement. So I think we start with our strengths. One of our strengths is our musical heritage. We were named the fiddling capital of Kentucky for a reason. You know, those are not monikers that they just give out in the state legislature just because somebody asks. You have to have some proof of that. So I think we start there, and I think with you look for other things that are your strengths too. We've got our lakes. Obviously, our lakes are a great strength around here because we drive around the lake and we see million-dollar homes. We know that that's a strength of our community. So I think you look for things that you do well, and you publicize those, and you go with those, and once you're comfortable and you're settled with that, you look at something else. You know, it's like a building block thing to me. And you know, I think we've got a good start, and I expect to move forward as we go.
Thank you, Harold. I just want to make a note or two about some of the things we're doing and what generates income for the city of Litchfield. Number one, what gives us a strong financial base is our occupational tax. My father was city clerk when he got that, and one of the things that's made our tourism strong is our restaurant tax. Your 3% restaurant tax, a lot of community fussed about it, brings in about $800,000 a year. And I remind the tourism that they're not running a savings account. They're running $800,000 a year to get people to come to Litchfield, and that's what a lot of the East Main Street is and everything. I was at City Hall when that was voted on. It was disappointed to see some of the council members vote against it. But it's turned out to be a great thing. We get this hotel built with the restaurant down there, and we bring that up near $1 million. We're going to do some great things with it, I promise you that. And our lakes is the biggest thing. Our East Main Street program, even for the gospel, I give away some money. I try to get people to come up and sign up for, I guess if we get their emails, that's the most valuable thing we got. They're not reading our paper. They're not listening to our radio station, but we have got to have a contact with them. to lure them into Litchfield. There's millions of dollars going to these lakes that ought to be spent in Litchfield. And we got to get a hold of them. And I can say that Elsa Johnson's been excellent to work with. Her whole tourism team's been excellent to work with. And I can't say, well, the council's been excellent to work with. There's Billy Dallas. And with that corporation, I would hope whoever gets elected, Harold Miller or myself, we got to have a corporation. We don't need a battle when we go to City Hall. And as Jessica would tell you, it's just not exactly the way you think it is sometimes. But we do work things, we make plans, and things come about by plans. Here you are, and I'll be quiet. I'm Randy.
Are there any more questions for our mayor candidates? Go on up. While he's walking up here, I will tell you guys that we did raise $1,575 tonight at the auction, and this will go towards the shoe fund. Guys, you do not understand, and I know we don't advertise it a lot, but we actually help a lot of kids in the school systems. And we have to do that behind the scenes with the FRC coordinators, and we could not do that without the community's help. I mean, there's several times a year we buy the same family's shoes because they just can't afford to get shoes. And I mean, I have a kid at the high school myself. I know how kids go through shoes. They go through shoes like none other. Some kids go through shoes more than others because they're more active than others. If you guys would like, if you did not bid on something you wanted tonight, or you would like to donate to us for the shoe fund, we do this all year long, and we need money all year long for this fund. I mean, it's not just something we do once a year. We do it several times a year, and several times a year for the same families. And these go to all the FRCs in our school systems. You know, we don't work with just one school, we work with all of them, and we have several schools in the system. So this is a very important fundraiser to the Leitchfield Women's Club, and we greatly appreciate all of you all coming out, all of you all donating, and all of you all buying and bidding. We couldn't buy these kids' shoes without your help.
I would like to ask, we keep hearing about the motel that's coming to Leitchfield. I don't know if in the contract there was a certain amount of time they had to get this started. From what I understand, they don't even have plans together for a motel or the chain that they're going to go with when it's purchased it. But I would like to know if anybody on the council, if the mayor or anybody knows, is there a certain amount of time that was given to these people to get this project started?
There is a certain time, Marty. They can't, number one, just buy that property and sell it. They've got to be developed within so many days to build that. These people own a Holiday Inn Express in Cave City, and they're going to look at a Hampton Inn, or there won't be a discount chain. And the property that they bought, they want to develop it all, it only takes 4 or 5 acres for a hotel. And Marty, you addressed earlier in the city council why I didn't say that 4 acres on the bypass. Drive by those where I'm on American Building tomorrow morning, and I'll show you why he didn't buy that 4 acres on the bypass. That's in Embry Drive.
We're cleaning the building out over there, getting stuff out, get it sold. Sell it around. And thank you, Mayor.
Does anybody else have any other questions for the mayor candidates?
I have one last question, and then I'll be quiet. The big draw for areas is having a viable representative to help with searching for these industries and these new businesses to come in here. What are your plans to be involved in that venture, and what initiatives have you set forth to help just get talent in here, whether it be individuals or it be industry? What are your future plans on searching for these larger companies and bringing them here so we can retain our local talent within this area?
Thanks, Melissa. one of the biggest things we have here, and one of the biggest helpers we have in the community, and being with Warner Electric for as many years as I was, and being able to recognize, and I think most people here that have been involved in city politics at all would tell you that Tennessee Valley Authority, TVA, is a huge benefit to us in this community. In all the communities surrounding us, they are very interested in bringing, when they hear of an industry that's wanting to locate somewhere in their service area, which includes about 7 states in the southeast, if they know that you're interested in an industry, you have the workforce and you have the willpower to go through with it, they will bring people in here. They will do their best to get those people located in this industry, in this town. And you know, to me, that's the relationship I have with them through all the years with the co-op. That would be one of my first directions I would go, to talk to TVA and see what's out there, what's wanting to relocate, what's wanting to add on. So those are the kind of things that connections you have to have. The other things, you know, it's jobs are a funny thing in a community, because you're not going to run into someone every day that is going to come up to you and say, hey, I want to build a 2 million square foot building, you know, I want to pay $40 an hour. But there are opportunities out there. Meade County just had wonderful opportunities recently with the new battery plant that's going in Glendale. That's going to trickle our way, and hopefully, you know, we can get some spinoff from that. If not industry right off the bat, at least population-wise. And you know, most people that go to work in a place like that, they're not going to live in the city. A lot of them want to live out in the country and have a few acres and go home and relax at night. So I think you keep your eye open for things like that are happening around you. And we know from the Toyota plant, we've got places right here in town that supply the Toyota plant. So that's kind of, you know, Plasticon's kind of been a spinoff of that. So we know those places are out there. We just have to actively search for them, and we have to put forth the effort to make them feel welcome and wanted in this community and show them what we want. Sorry.
Thank you, Harold. First thing about layering industry here is having city services available to them in a plentiful supply at a reasonable price. That's where our water plant comes in. That's where natural gas comes in. And that's where we got to have city services. I recently showed a property out on Kenneth Galt Drive from a company out of Indianapolis that's going to make a bid on that. A lot of people don't realize, and it's not covered, there's a body in Leitchfield called the IDC, Industrial Development Committee. And the mayor sits on that, although I'm not the chairman of it. And I can tell you that I just run a brand new pair of pants, didn't I, Joyce? Walking through those 40 acres out on Kenneth Galt Drive. And we have a meeting next week, and they're going to make an offer. A company out of Indianapolis is going to make an offer on that 40 acres. It's like the hotel, though. We announced this week on the hotel. That didn't happen this week. That happened 5 months ago. And that's like this industry. They're going to make an offer for that this week. If we accept it, they won't want an announcement till they break ground and show what they're going to do. It's like, and it don't happen every night. Just like the hotel. The hotel is not a sprint, it's a marathon. I ran 2 marathons of 26 miles. They started a long time ago. Here you are, honey.
Excuse me a moment. Can I say something to you, Rick?
Yes, sir.
Can you lure in some industry that pays decent money for these young kids to stay here?
Dennis?
You know what I'm saying, Ricky. A young person, a young family can't make it in this town.
Dennis, cheese factories are
You know that. You know that.
Let me answer.
If we had to go back and do it again, we couldn't do that. Not now. There's not the pay scale in this town and this county is terrible. You know that. That's the reason our families, our kids are leaving. Need more money. It's not because they don't want to work, because they can't afford to work.
Let me respond. The city does not control what
I understand that, but lure in some of these people that will pay a pay scale, a decent pay scale. You understand? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A young person can't live here. A young person can't raise a family here. You know, it's terrible. They have to go to E-Town, they have to go to Bouldering, they have to drive to Wood. You know, get some of these pay a decent scale, you know. It's never been like that. You know,
Are there,
our two kids, they live in Florida. They couldn't raise a family here.
are there any more questions for
That's all I
either,
can say.
for either of the mayor candidates?
Dennis.
Yes, sir.
In answer to your question, that's one of the toughest things I think to come by is issues of base well down.
Yes.
But they are out there.
Yes.
The plant in Meade County that's going in,
Yes.
from what I've read and understand, their starting salaries are going to be $75,000 a year. So these places are out there.
Yes.
We can't control the city.
I understand.
The city, we can't
I understand
control.
it. You can't control who you bring in, but you can help.
And that's one of the
The
things.
council can help, the mayor can help, the city can help.
That's one of the things. It's the part I don't like. You know, people who come here is, try to find out what they're paying, what their goals are.
Okay. This is your last chance. If you have any questions for the mayor candidates, this is your last chance to answer them as I'm going to start wrapping things up. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Come on up.
Can I go home?
Well, if everybody will tell me if they're done asking questions.
I have a question. While you all were on city council, what's a few things that you're most proud of doing from beginning to end?
Thanks, Anna. As I mentioned earlier, there were some things we're involved in. I don't take credit for anything. See Billy Dallas outside the door there. Jessica's here. We all have to work as one within the council. So there's nothing any one person can do to fail or succeed, it doesn't seem like with city government. But some of the things that we did, I mentioned the Veterans Memorial earlier, the sports complex, new public works maintenance building. If you haven't been over by there, drive by. It's a really nice building. It suits their needs well. The aquatic center. I know there's mixed emotions about the aquatic center, but when I've had the grandkids over there, they have enjoyed it immensely. So, that's one of the things that we've done. We made some upgrades to city parks over the years. The different things that we did there, different little rides and things. If you go to City Park now, there's musical instruments as you go in, things like that. Some of those things have been done. We got a splash pad out north of town by the fire department. If you've never been out there in the summertime, you'll see that that's a very enjoyable place for those kids to be. And a lot of those kids out in that neighborhood don't have a lot of other things to do, so they make great use of the splash pad. As I've mentioned, and I won't belabor anymore, the Filling Festival. I'm really proud of that because we've come a long way. The stage, and I think the mayor would agree, a few years ago, Mayor Thomason was still the mayor then, and we realized that the stage for the Filling Festival, we were playing on the back of a buckboard wagon, and everything was makeshift. We relied on a young farmer that was wonderful to help us in any way he could. But we finally had to get to the point where we had to stand on our own 2 feet. We bought the stage. It's been invaluable to us for the filling contest. It's been invaluable for the East Main Market shows. It's portable. It can be taken anywhere and set up and used for just about anything. And I drove to Nebraska to pick that thing up. I don't know if you've ever driven to Nebraska back in a couple of days, but it's not a pleasant trip. But it was well worth it because it's an invaluable piece of equipment for us. So, those are some of the things we're involved in. There are other things that take place in every council meeting and behind the scenes. There are some things that you do, as Rick said earlier, you can't talk about today because most people that are involved in wanting to do certain things or move here and do other things, they don't want this thing out in public until they're sure that it's coming. So, but generally every meeting and every time we get together as a council, and I say we, I'm counting my 8 years on the council.
Time's up.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you, guys.
We get the timer's next. All right.
Okay, Harold, you're 100% right. I agree with you 200%. I think the stage is one of the best investments that we've made. In the last 2 years, I let the city of Clarkston use it and make it available to them. They appreciate it every time I do. I've created a good relationship with Clarkston and Caneyville both. You'll see them on our Labor Day parades and stuff. And the city council is unlike the mayor in that they have to work in unison with other council members. They don't have a single vote. They don't have no authority outside the city council. So everything that the city council has done, I was a part of it. If I sat on it, when I was on the city council, we built, a long time ago, we built the sewer plant. I got to go to Washington, D.C. and help find financing for that sewer plant. But what Harold said, it's been a community, the East Main Street, I thunk it up, but the city council worked with me, the tourism worked with me to make it work, and that's the reason you got to have people that's willing to work with you on the city council, and the tourism has been 100% to work with me, and I'm sure they would, Harold. Like I said, I was with you when you and Mayor Thompson went down that for the trailer, and I'll tell you the truth. We just named pickleball. We just named, we got disc golf down there. I'm telling you the truth. You can't do nothing when somebody's against it. Somebody said something about pickleball, which is one of the hottest little sports going on in the nation. Somebody slandered the pickleball court, and we're not even got it yet. But the Parks and Recreation program, because of donations and stuff, you go down to our parks, it's next to none. And Jody Nutt's right here, and he knows you. And he'll tell you, there's not a piece of paper on the Fireman's Park, am I done? There's not a piece of paper on the Fireman's Park or down the city park. I got people taking care of them. The new city hall is people taking care of. I told J.D. Miller at the first of this year and Scotty, I said, if you mow over a cut when I see you, I said, I'll fire you. I don't want you mowing over cuts. When I got there, they wouldn't mow out 259 or 62 going to Clarkston because the person in charge said we can't do state highways. But we do state highways now. Am I got any time? Oh, come on. I just get warmed up. I got one story for everybody gets done.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Does anybody else want to ask them anything? Okay. Yep. Okay. So.
Okay, I'm Terry Haycraft. I'm not only a candidate for Leitchfield City Council, but I am also the first VP of the Leitchfield Women's Club. Oh, I'm out of breath. That was heavy. We have 2 completely full, never been opened banana puddings left. Hold that up. Do our auctioneer leave? No, come here. You all still have some money left. We still have more shoes to buy. So let's auction off the banana puddings, and we have 4 big containers that have never been opened up.
Okay, guys, again, we greatly appreciate all of you all bringing auction items and all of you all bidding and buying things. And the school system also greatly appreciates you all your FRC coordinators. If you are interested in donating to us throughout the year for this fund, you can see one of us, me, Terry, Linda, or Marilyn. And if you are interested in knowing more about the Leitchfield Women's Club, you can also see us about that. We have applications on the back table. Everyone have a wonderful evening, and thank you again for coming. We also just had another $100 donation. Thank you all again. We greatly appreciate it, and the school system appreciates it also. Have a good night.